Hi everybody, Sharon from Mad Paper Crush here. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to make these cute little pocket tags that are also paper clips for your journals. So we're going to make them so that you can put a tag right into a little pocket and then you can clip it onto any page of your journal and have a nice little ribbon top coming out of your journal there. And then the tag itself gives you a nice little place to add a note or maybe a little picture or some stickers, whatever you'd like there to put into your journal. So I hope that you'll join me as we make these altered paperclip pocket tags. So for this project, you'll need 2 pieces of paper. One that is 2 1/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches. One that is 1 inch by 2 inches. So this is your note card that'll fit down in our pocket when we're done, our little tag note card that'll fit down in there. You'll need a paper clip. You'll need some ribbon if you would like to put something at the top of your tag. So here you see I have some ribbon held on to this tag to make it easy to pull in and out. And I've also used this hole punch. It's sort of an oval ribbon hole punch, but you can use a round one or you could just use a staple if you don't have those punches. And the tools that you'll need is scissors, a pencil. I have a 1/2 inch circle punch that I'm using for the front of our pocket, but you don't have to do this if you don't like. And I also am using a scoreboard because it's easier for me to fold when I'm doing that. So that's all you need. Let's get started. Okay, I have my 2 pieces of cardstock ready to go. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to score my larger piece. So our first score line on our large piece, we want to be at 1 1/4 inches. So I'm just lining it up and I'm going to make a score at 1 1/4 inches because that's going to be the width of our pocket. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make this fold, because I want to use the fold, the edge of the paper on the other side, as my guide for my next score mark. So I'm just going to line up that edge of the paper there on a scoring line here so that when I make my next score, you can see that when I fold over my paper, my score line, doesn't overlap or anything. So I know that when I fold this one over, it will be a nice fold that will, not ruffle up any of the edges or anything like that. And then, so now we have 3 panels. And for our last score, we're going to, at the bottom, score it at 1/4 inch. So once again, I'm just going to line it up and score it at 1/4 inch. I'm going to go ahead and fold that fold down because we are going to be cutting off 2 of these small rectangles that we've created at the bottom of our 3 folds. So when I cut them off, you'll notice that the fold, because I've used my scoreboard, the fold is, pretty wide there. And I want to be sure when I cut off this rectangle that I cut off the entire fold. And we're only going to leave this rectangle at the bottom, but we're also going to make some slanted cuts here so that when we fold that over, it won't show anything either. So I'm just going to cut this first corner off. And when I get to where my scores cross over, I'm just going to do a very slight angle in. And then when I cut the second one off, I'm going to angle in first till I get to where my scores cross. And then once again, I'm going to make sure I cut off the entire fold of that rectangle. So let me see if I can show you on this side. You can see that the fold in my middle piece is still there, but I've cut that entire thing off of both sides. So this is the base for our pocket, and we're going to fold it over. Well, we have to fold up the middle first because this will be the bottom of our pocket. And then this one will fold over like that. Now, before we do anything else, I want to mark the center of my middle panel. so that we can do our little rounded punch there. Now our panel, our pocket, is 1 1/4 inches. So I need to mark it at 5/8 of an inch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for it to be the center of that. And I just make this little mark so that when I'm doing my actual hole punch, I'm going to move my scoreboard out of the way. When I do my hole punch, I kind of know where to line it up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put my hole punch over there, line up that little pencil mark I made in just about the middle. And I'm not doing a full half circle here. I'm doing it a little bit less than a half circle. So let me just get it where I want it, and I will lift it up so that you can see I am as centered as I can be just by looking with my eyeball there. And it's a little bit less than a half of a circle. So when I'm got it lined up to where I want, I'm just going to punch that out. And then you can see we have our pocket with our nice little notch in there for our tag. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to grab my paper clip, and I have these nice brass paper clips, and I'm going to put the paper clip with the small side on the inside of my left panel. So when we fold this over, the large side of my paper clip will be on the outside of my pocket. Okay? So now the next step is just to give it a glue. So I'm going to glue both our bottom panel here, and I'm going to glue this full left panel here. And I'm using my Beacon 3-in-1 glue just because it's pretty fast grabbing. I'm just going to put a small little bead at the bottom here. I don't want to put too much on that bottom panel. And then on our left panel, I'm going to glue up the whole thing, making sure I get the top edges and the inside of that paper clip so that when I fold that over, I'll have lots of area that's grabbing there. So now that I have everything glued, I'm just going to fold my right panel over so that it grabs our bottom piece that we had there, a little bottom rectangle. I'm going to wipe the glue away from that. And then I'm going to fold my left panel in, and I'm going to just press it all over to make sure it's glued. Now, the one thing I like about this 3-in-1 glue is that it stays cold until it dries. So it really does kind of let you know when things are grabbed. So I'm just making sure that, I don't have glue at the top coming off. So let's make sure that's not glued together. And then I'm just pressing down all over here to make sure that we have a nice grab. And then if anything came sort of smooshing out, make sure you just wipe that off. And get that. And then we'll just put this aside until we're ready or until we finish working with our tag. So this is the other piece of cardstock that I had. I'm going to be using this as my tag. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using this ribbon punch. And you certainly don't need to do that if you don't want to. You can use a circle punch and an eyelet if you'd like. You could also just use your ribbon and a staple at the top. You could angle the corners or round the corners if you like. I'm going to keep it the same shape as the pocket. I kind of like the way that looks. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up my hole at about, and actually let me do it this way. So since my tag is about 1 inch wide, I'm just going to line up my tag there, and I'm going to eyeball the center with my ribbon punch. And I'm going to punch it just about, I would say, 1/8 of an inch down, and then centered as best as I can. So let me see how we do. So you can see there, and that's not very, let me just do that. So you can see my, I punched my hole about 1/8 of an inch down, and it's just about centered. It actually looks like I got a little to the left, but that's okay with me. All right, so now the next step is to get your ribbon, and we're going to add our ribbon to our tag here. And I'm just going to do the basic loop. You may have seen this before, but what you do is you take your ribbon and fold it in half, And then you take the loop that you've created and push it through your hole from the front to the back. And then once your loop is through, you're going to open up that loop and take both of your ends and put it right through that loop. And then you're going to just give each edge a nice little tug there to make sure that it's secure. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut off the ends in just kind of a V pattern. One of them I'm going to go in towards the middle, and the other one I'm going to leave up towards the outer edge. And actually, I think I'm going to cut that one a little bit smaller. I try not to do them the same height, but because I like the asymmetry of having them a little bit different lengths there. And then once your pocket is dry, which I think mine is, you should be able to slip that tag right into there. And then you can take your journal and you can pop that tag on any page that you'd like. And you have a nice little pocket tag paper clip that you can use in your journal. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. Please like this video and subscribe if you haven't, and hit that bell so that you can be notified of the next video that I have coming out. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.